Hello everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today, we're diving into an exciting journey as we explore part 1 and part 2 of our story, where emotions rise, secrets unfold, and every moment pulls us deeper into the experience. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. For Jay, who had been weathering his own storm for far too long, that quiet corner came in the form of two people, two souls, who made him believe that life could still hold beauty. And for us, listening to this story, maybe somewhere in it, we'll see a little piece of ourselves, a little pain, a little hope. And if any moment of this story reaches your heart, even just for a second, give it a like to let you know he's not alone, and leave a message. Your words of kindness might mean more than you think. I hope this day is gentle to you, the same way Huyen and Maya softened the storm inside Dieu's heart. The morning mist still clung low to the porch, thin as a lingering sadness. Inside the small kitchen, steam drifted slowly from a boiling pot, mingling with the soft dawn light until everything looked blurred, like a memory wrapped in fog. The smell of ginger and rice porridge mixed with the faint scent of burning wood, warm, soothing, and just a little hard to swallow. Maya sat on her mother's lap, her small legs swinging lightly. Her round, curious eyes stared at the bed where Ye lay completely still. Sleep still clung to her face, but the worry in her gaze was as clear as morning dew. Her tiny voice came out trembling, careful, as if she were afraid louder words might worsen his pain. "Mommy, Uncle Ye hurts so much. I love him so much." Huyen tilted her head slightly. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she held her daughter closer, as if she could pull the little girl's fear into her arms and protect her from it. Huyen's eyes drifted into the distance, the kind of distance inside a person, not the world outside. She stared toward the crackling fire but wasn't really looking at it. She was listening, as if the popping wood echoed her own heartbeat, restless, tense, loaded with guilt. She had seen pain before, many times, but never something that shook her this deeply. The kitchen smoke wove itself into her hair, tinting it a soft gray, and still she said nothing. Words felt useless, too fragile. If she spoke, they would dissolve into the air like steam. Then suddenly, a choked cry of pain tore through the morning quiet. The chopsticks in Huyen's hand fell to the floor with a sharp clatter. She stood so quickly, the stool scraped across the ground. Instinct took over. She scooped Maya into her arms and rushed toward the bed. "Brother, are you hurting a lot?" Her voice cracked, fear tightening around every syllable. Her hands trembled violently when she touched Ye's shoulder. She could feel her own heartbeat hammering, louder than his breaths. Maya scrambled out of her arms and ran to him too, her eyes red within seconds. "Uncle Ye, don't be hurt anymore. Don't go. I'm scared." Her tears fell onto Dieu's hand, hot and shaky, but this time, the pain that seized his chest wasn't physical. Jay exhaled slowly, deeply, as if forcing his spirit back into place. He lifted an arm and wrapped it around Huyen, not to lean on her, but to reassure her, to say, without words, "I'm here. I'm still here. I won't disappear." He pushed himself upright. Pain shot through him, sharp enough to twist his expression, but he gritted his teeth and endured it until his breathing steadied. The bruises on his skin had begun to yellow, but the wounds in his eyes, Those ran deeper than anything visible. Huyen touched his face with a trembling hand. "Don't force yourself. Don't scare me like that again." Joe didn't answer. He simply squeezed her hand, slow and firm. His eyes spoke clearly. "What happened to you last night will never happen again." And if anyone thought they could threaten Huyen and Maya, they were about to make the biggest mistake of their lives. Jay looked at the two of them. Huyen, fragile yet unwavering, and Maya, innocent but overflowing with love. Something flared inside him. It wasn't fear, it wasn't weakness. It was a fierce, burning resolve, a promise. "I won't let anyone touch them again, not even once. Whoever hurt them will answer for it, by the law, or whatever it takes." He opened his eyes fully and held Huyen's gaze for a long moment. Then he smiled, a small smile, weak but steady. "I'm okay, I promise." Maya sniffled, wiped her tears, and buried her face in his chest. Huyen squeezed his hand a little tighter. The kitchen fire crackled behind them. But now it sounded different. Not frightening, more like a spark echoing the flame growing quietly inside G. The house was warm, but inside Huyen, a chill lingered. Jay tried sitting up straighter and took a few spoonfuls of soup just to reassure Maya. He smiled at her, though the smile only lasted a moment before disappearing again. Whenever he moved, even slightly, pain flickered across his face. Quick, sharp, almost invisible. Anyone else would have missed it, but not Huyen. Her eyes tracked every subtle wince, and with each one, her heart tightened. Questions pressed on her chest. What really happened last night? Why did he lie? What was he afraid of? Who was he afraid of? She looked at him for so long that she began to fear the truth she might find if she kept staring. G had the eyes of a man willing to bear pain for others. Eyes of a man terrified of losing what mattered most. Eyes of someone who had already made a dangerous decision and didn't want her to know. Later, when it was time to take Maya to school, Huyen dressed her daughter carefully. She tucked the blanket around Ye with automatic tenderness, half affection, half fear. "Uncle Ye," Maya said, hugging him tightly. "I'm going to school now, okay? When I come back, you have to tell me stories so I won't be sad anymore." Jay laughed, but the sound cracked into a grimace as pain streaked down his back. Maya panicked, cupping his cheek, ready to cry again. Huyen knelt and soothed her endlessly until she finally agreed to go. The walk to school was strangely quiet. Even the birds seemed muted. Maya clutched her mother's hand tightly, her small steps quickening every few moments to keep up. "Mom," she whispered, "Uncle Ye will stay home and wait for me, right?" "Of course, sweetheart. He's staying home." But Maya lowered her head. "Then, why do I feel like Uncle Ye is going somewhere?" Huyen froze. Her heart lurched. "Why do you say that?" "I don't know," Maya murmured. "But last night, when he was hurting, he looked at us like he was scared to leave. Children sometimes see the things adults pretend not to." With the innocence only a child could have, she asked, "Mom, Uncle D, why are you looking at each other like that?" Huyen startled, her cheeks warming instantly. D coughed lightly, looking away, pretending to adjust Maya's notebook. "Because," Huyen began, searching for a sensible answer. But Maya had already run back to the table, her attention shifting like a little bird spotting something shiny. The warmth of the moment lingered, though, soft, quiet, and gentle enough to make both adults avert their gaze as if they had been caught doing something forbidden. Dinner time came and passed with laughter, small, scattered laughter, but enough to fill the tiny house with life. Afterward, Maya dragged her jacket behind her like a little cape, while Huyen helped her get ready for bed. "Brush your teeth properly," she reminded. "I know, Mommy. Uncle D taught me to count to 20. "Oh, really?" "Uh-huh. He said I have to brush each tooth like it's a tiny house." Huyen chuckled softly. "He's good at teaching, isn't he?" "He's the best," Maya declared, as if announcing something monumental. Dee watched from the doorway, leaning slightly against the frame. There was something indescribably pure about the sight. Mother and daughter bathed in warm lamplight, moving around each other with such familiar rhythm, it felt like watching a memory unfold instead of a moment in real time. When Maya finally settled into her small bed, hugging her stuffed rabbit, she whispered, "Mommy, is Uncle D staying forever?" The question pierced the air like a soft arrow. Huyen froze. Dee froze. Neither spoke immediately. Maya looked between them, her big eyes shining. "Because I want him to stay. I want our house to have 3 people. And Bibi." "That's 4. Huyen knelt down and stroked her daughter's hair, carefully choosing her words. "We'll see, honey. What matters is that you sleep well." Maya nodded, though her eyes lingered on Dee until sleep finally tugged them closed. When the door gently clicked shut, the quiet of the hallway wrapped around them like a second skin. Huyen and Dee stood there for a moment, not looking at each other, yet completely aware of the other's presence. "Kids say the wildest things," she said softly. "They really do," he replied. But they both knew that wasn't wild at all. It was the simplest truth Maya had ever spoken. Late that night, the wind picked up outside. Leaves scratched softly against the window, and the old wooden house hummed faintly with every breeze. Dee sat on the porch, elbows on his knees, staring out into the dimly lit yard. The pain in his back pulsed steadily, not severe, but enough to keep him from sleeping. More than pain, though, something else gnawed at him, a sense of unfinished danger. Footsteps approached from behind, light, hesitant. Huyen stepped out with a blanket draped over her arm. "You're not sleeping?" she asked. "I will," he said, though he clearly wasn't convincing anyone. She walked over and placed the blanket around his shoulders. "You're still hurting." "I'm fine." "You lie badly," she murmured. He let out a gentle exhale, part laugh, part surrender. "You noticed." "I notice everything." Their eyes met for a brief moment before she sat beside him. The night wrapped around them carefully. The air smelled faintly of jasmine and soil, the remnants of the day still lingering in the house behind them. For a while, neither spoke. Then Huyen said quietly, "Yeah, last night, what really happened?" The question he had been avoiding all day. He looked down at his hands. The knuckles still bore faint marks. The truth sat heavy on his tongue. But then he turned, and he saw her. Not just her worried eyes, but everything behind them. Fear, tenderness, and that gentle courage she always carried without realizing it. He didn't want her involved, didn't want her endangered, didn't want the storm in his life to spill into hers. "Huyen," he began, voice low. But the words didn't come. Her fingers gently touched his arm. Just a small touch, but it steadied him more than any breath. "You don't have to tell me everything," she said, "but don't carry it alone. You don't have to be alone here." He swallowed hard. alone. It was a word he knew too well. But here, in this quiet porch under the dim evening light, with the warmth of her hand on his arm, he didn't feel alone. Not at all. A soft tremor ran through his chest. Not pain, but something deeper. He met her gaze. Huyen, I won't let anything happen to you. Or Maya. She blinked, startled by the intensity of his tone. I know, she whispered. No, he said, leaning slightly closer. I mean it. Whatever comes, I will stand in front of it first. Her breath caught. Why? She asked, though part of her already knew. He didn't answer with words. Instead, his eyes softened in a way that made her heart throb painfully. Gentle, vulnerable, but unyieldingly sure. She looked away first, flustered by how easily he could unsettle her. There's tea inside, she murmured, rising quickly. I'll get you some. But when she took one step forward, his hand reached out, hesitant but undeniably seeking, and wrapped around her wrist. She stopped. The night stopped with her. Huyen. Her name on his lips carried something he hadn't dared to express all day. Something warm, something close, something that made her knees weak in the darkness. For a long moment, she didn't turn around. When she finally did, their faces were only inches apart. Thank you, he whispered. For the blanket, for the soup, for the worry, for the home, for everything he didn't know how to articulate. Her lips parted slightly, trembling. You don't have to thank me, she said softly. Just stay safe. Their eyes held each other in the hush of the night. The lantern above their heads flickered gently, casting shifting gold across their faces, highlighting the bruise on his cheek, the worry in her gaze, and the longing neither of them dared name. Bibi's sudden bark broke the moment, bounding out from inside as if announcing something important. Huyen stepped back, flustered, pulling her hand free. I'll bring the tea, she mumbled. Dee nodded, watching her disappear through the doorway, his heart beating a little too hard for someone in pain. Inside, Huyen pressed her hand to her chest, trying to calm the frantic rhythm. That night, both of them lay awake far longer than they should have, each replaying the same moment from the porch, each wondering what would have happened if Bibi hadn't barked, each feeling something new forming quietly, tenderly, like dawn rising beneath their skin. In this chapter, we dive deeper into Ye's emotional struggle after the shocking moment when he whispered, I'm a poor man. That single confession becomes the turning point that shifts the entire atmosphere around him. As tension builds, Ye faces his ex-wife with a mix of fear, regret, and a determination he didn't know he still had. Meanwhile, Huyen prays quietly, hoping that fate will grant Ye one more chance to change everything. The story reveals hidden emotions, unresolved pain, and a spark that may be leading to something much bigger than anyone expects. But just when Ye thinks he understands what's happening, a new twist appears, one that could rewrite everything he believes about himself. What awaits him next? And how will this moment reshape his life forever?